Hello, this is my critical thinking project about what I believe the world would have been like without me. And in order to explain that story as to why, I think we should start at the beginning. So I had to rummage through some photos and find um, some of the oldest to signify where I've come from and where I've ended up. And we're going to start with this photo of little Michelangelo Bruno Jr. and his grandmother Elisa Rosa. You can see the statue of Mary back in the background. That was very indicative of my grandmother's faith and the joy that she had for me when she was first introduced to me. This is probably one of the earliest photos I have. The birth of my sister, I think that's where my existence started to have the most meaning. She and I were both born in Chicago along with our parents. My grandmother was born in Puerto Rico, who you saw before that. And my sister and I have different fathers. My father wasn't around, but hers was from about the age of 4. And this was the start of a interesting pathway for myself, but I am a natural giver and natural caretaker of sorts, and I've recognized that from the start just looking at these photos. When my sister was born, I definitely took the role as caregiver for her. My mother was young. She had me when she was 19, and my sister 4 years later. And she was doing her best to help us survive. And as you can see in these photos, in the background, there are little indications of the kind of lifestyle we lived. We came from humble beginnings. We were usually always in apartments. We never owned a home. But I was a caretaker. I had to do the dishes. Never got a allowance or anything, but it was something that I had to do. I helped take care of my sister, Selena, and I'm very proud of the job I did taking care of her because she grew up to be an amazing woman, and my love for her was always unconditional. I treated her as my little diamond. She was someone that I protected and cared for, and she was much different than I. She was very much a shyer girl, more sensitive, and I was always bold and able to be in charge and be assertive. I think up until her teens, she wouldn't even go to like the cashier to check out because she was too shy to. This is another example of how close we were. We were brother and sister, 4 years apart, and yet still we slept together and shared a room even until I was 17. Another example of our humble beginnings. But I was her protector, and despite what was going on in our adult world that surrounded us, I was there for her, and I made sure that we lived in happiness and had imaginary games and toys and things that we would do. And I think that if I had not been here, her life would be so much more different. I didn't always see the benefit to having her around, but I'm so glad that we had the childhood we did. Most children don't get to play outside and enjoy other children the way that we got to, and especially when we had each other. This is us getting older. That's my mom. I was probably 15, maybe 14 there. And I continued to be a protector until the day that I was my sister's man of honor. I helped with her makeup there and getting her into her dress and it was a beautiful wedding on Fripp's Island off the coast of I believe South Carolina, Georgia. And she got married to a wonderful man. That's me and my mom again. And we had some lovely memories as we became adults, but we also had some issues. But she gave birth to a beautiful son named Cadence, who is now 6 years old, and he thinks that I am just the bee's knees. He loves me unconditionally. He can't wait to see me again. I am his Kiki. He calls me Kiki because he couldn't say Mikey. And then we have this cat, who my sister actually, my brother-in-law, her husband, gave me the cat when he was very young, and he is now almost 17 years old. And I have learned to actually love again through him. As you can see, he is my heart. In fact, he's right there. I'll use him as a prop. He loves his papa as well. Oh, I showed my face. That was supposed to be at the end. Sorry about that. But anyway, this is me and my mom again. During the last few years of her life, I've mentioned this quite a few times, I was her caretaker as well. I drove her for almost 2 years, 7 days a week, to the hospital for outpatient treatments. She may have not had those last 2 years if it wasn't for me. My sister was taking care of her young son. And there is Cadence again with his Uncle Kiki. I'm wearing the same shirt that I decided to put on for this video. And this is us towards just maybe a year before my mom passed. You can see her in the background. That's a friend, Jamie. And this is my sister-in-law's mother. My sister's mother-in-law, excuse me. And this is me now. And I'm very happy to have experienced all of that and be here with you today and to be able to have this project and to say that my humble beginnings are not as humble. I get to live in a beautiful place here in Atlanta that I co-own with a friend, and I still have my beautiful little baby boy. He's an old man, and I have my nephew Cadence, who I love, my sister, who I love, and my mother in spirit, who I love. And had I not been here, I think the world would be drastically different in a multitude of ways. I don't think that my sister would have the support she has to raise her son in the way she does. Having me in his life, I'm very creative and imaginative, and I like to play and act like a kid with him, and we build Legos and play video games, and I wouldn't be the parent to a beautiful cat who probably would have been in the streets and not lived as long a life as he has, and I wouldn't be here with you now making this video that is already too long, so I'm going to stop talking. Thank you.